I've got a great relationship with Joe, and I've learned a lot from him, about the game, and we'll continue to work and continue to, grow in our communication.
I love Coach Judge. He's a great leader, extremely smart coach. I've always thought he's an amazing coach, and he's allowed me to flourish that much more since I've been here.
Dex, so basically this locker room is basically 100% behind Judge.
That's what I believe, yes. We showed up today, everybody showed up, and, we listened to him, and, we believe that he has a plan for us to grow as a team and as individuals.
That's not what I understand. My understanding is the locker room's divided on Joe Judge as coach of the Giants. The problem is ownership likes him. And ownership, Charean, I believe, is very sensitive to the reality that they've ripped through coaches every 2 years. It went from Ben McAdoo. I mean, it really wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things that he showed up for his press conference in that big-ass suit. Remember that? That wasn't that long ago. It was 6 years ago. We had Ben McAdoo for 2 years. We had Pat Shurmur for 2 years. We've had Joe Judge for 2 years. And my understanding is that ownership is going to let the next GM make the call. And that means whoever the next GM is going to be critical to it. If it's promotion of Kevin Abrams, which many believe is going to happen, although I don't understand why. If Dave Gettleman wasn't getting it done, you promote his top lieutenant into that job. I don't get that. Or if it's somebody who's tied to Judge by way of relationship, shared experience in New England, that kind of thing, then it points to Judge. If they end up hiring somebody who's got no ties to Judge whatsoever, that doesn't bode well for Joe Judge. But that's going to be the first step. And given the clumsy way that they handled the Dave Gettleman retirement, and it's a decision he's made in the past few days, I mean, give me a break. We've known for weeks that he's out. So this may all be just some sort of a ruse to make it look like it isn't all preordained, it isn't all predetermined, it isn't a job that's already been concluded and they're working backward. I think what's going to happen is they're going to end up hiring a GM that fits the profile of somebody who is content to stick with Joe Judge, and they're going to move forward. And just like the Dolphins, just like the Bears, dysfunction is going to continue.
Well, Mike, I have to be honest. Over the last 2 weeks, some things that Joe Judge have done, it prompted a question for me. Does he want to be fired? Does he want to be there? And in my mind, he's done a couple things that makes you think he was trying to get fired. You go back to the clown speech. This is not a clown organization calling out coaches from other teams. Ron Rivera didn't like what he said about his team. And then you look at the quarterback sneak on what was it, third and 9 in zone 4. They were trailing 3-0. Now, who does that? Like, that's just stupid. Like, who calls for a quarterback sneak down there? It just made no sense to me. I mean, run a play. This is a guy who in his opening press conference said, we're going to play with a relentless competitive attitude. That's not a relentless competitive attitude when you have nothing to play for and you're calling a quarterback sneak. It's just ridiculous. So I did wonder that. Does he even want the job? To me, that's a big question that needs to be asked by whoever the GM is.
His explanation for that play, if we want to show it again, it was basically they needed some room so they could punt. That's something you do.
It's dumb.
If you're in it's dumb in that setting because who cares if you get your punt blocked? Who gives a crap at that point? The game is meaningless. It's something that has meaning if you're in a game that still has relevance to your postseason standings, if the situation and the circumstances call for that kind of thing. I mean, this is the kind of Bill Belichick move that we would praise because he would use it in the right game, at the right moment, under the right conditions, at the right time. When Joe Judge does it, it just looks kooky because who cares if you don't have enough room for your punter? The game doesn't matter. It's over. You're going to line up in this weird reverse flying wedge formation to try to jam the ball. Like I've been planning to do this for 3 years under the right circumstances, and I haven't used it yet, and I'm going to go ahead and use it and show everybody how smart I am. It really is strange. And you tie that together with his press conference from last Sunday, his 11-minute diatribe, his comments from last Monday where he essentially admitted to tampering, although the prevailing thought is it was all a bunch of BS, and he really doesn't have guys who used to play for the Giants calling him up saying, I want to come back. It's odd to me because he's not behaving like somebody who believes he's safe or wants to be safe, or both.
Well, and the other thing, Mike, I think that is damning for him is when you look at how the Jaguars, the Texans, the Lions really fought to the finish yesterday, had nothing to play for. Two of those three teams won. And the Giants didn't do that. To me, they didn't look like a team that was playing to win. They weren't running the plays that the Lions were running, the flea flicker the Texans ran to kind of get back in that game. They weren't doing any of that type of stuff to try to win a game that was meaningless. Instead, they're running quarterback sneaks on 3rd and 9. So, that tells me that it makes me question whether the players really want Joe Judge back.
Hey, the Dolphins. They had nothing to play for. They beat the Patriots.
Yep.
Yeah, and their coach got fired. Hey, I love covering the NFL because you have multi-billion-dollar football operations that are staffed with people who have devoted their lives to understanding their craft and being as good as they can be. And then these teams are owned by monarchies, basically, people who have made billions in other lines of business who actually think it's easier than it looks, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And that disconnect between ownership that doesn't know what the hell it's doing, with no buffer, with no safeguard, but no board of directors other than in Green Bay, and you get these broad sweeping decisions that are made on impulse when you juxtapose it against all the money and all the time and all the investment in the football operation. There's nothing else like it other than professional sports, and I think the NFL is the most shining/glaring example of it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.